Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Bump Podcast. I am your host Nabil, joined by my brother.
Hey Shamir, how you guys doing?
Hey, hopefully you guys are having a fantastic day so far and a good week.
Oh yeah.
Hopefully you guys have been able to catch up on our previous episodes. If not, try to make sure to check that out. We've had some really good topics we've talked about, and we're so thankful for all of you guys who are supporting us. The love has been just inspiring, I think, to say the least, for the both of us to be able to come together week after week and just talk about different topics like we are today. So thank you so much. If you guys haven't checked us out on our social medias, of course, make sure to check that out. And we'll talk more about that towards the end of this episode. So today, what are we going to be talking about, sir?
We're going to be talking about happiness, learn how to smile and
genuinely do it, genuinely feel it. Not just do it just because you're putting on a facade or a different face outside of your own home, which I think we all intend to do. Yeah.
Right.
I think we try to mask our different hurts, our different, maybe, sometimes I know I could talk about myself in this regard. A lot of times, I'm thinking of different things I'm planning for or, just different thoughts that I have throughout the day. And I just kind of have to fake the smile to just kind of be like, yeah, everything's cool. Okay, I'll see you later. And then I'm just I'm really not feeling it.
Right.
I think we all have those days. And so today we really want to touch upon, what genuine happiness feels like, looks like, and just should be more of a regular basis thing rather than just, I hit the lottery today, so now I'm happy. Now I'm just balling with money. Like no.
And that's a crazy thing because like a lot of people tend to rely on their happiness. It's like we said in one of the recent podcasts of Brink's father that his success was is like his life, his identity. Same thing as a lot of people nowadays. I feel like they're who they are is what their happiness is, and the materialistic things that they do and their possessions are what make them happy. And when they don't have them, or they lack money, or they can't pay bills or whatnot, that's where their happiness just starts to diminish. And then that's something that leads me real quick to my class this week, my humanities class, where we were talking about Henry David Thoreau. He is a American naturalist from the 1800s, and our discussion in class this week was talking about how his ideas were relevant to this day, and that honestly, it's crazy how some people from 200-300 years ago, their philosophies and theories were more accurate nowadays than what they were in those times. But those things were still occurring in those times.
That's what I was going to say.
In a different way.
Because it's all a repetitive cycle no matter the century we're in. Right. I mean, history has proven that time and time again that it's a never-ending thing. You think that humanity would progress in certain things, which we have, obviously. Right. I mean, just look at our surroundings, how it is nowadays versus how it used to be. But when it comes to the actual things that matter in life, we just have not overcome it.
And I think nowadays happiness is a lot less than what it was back in those days, because in those days you didn't have technology, you didn't have these things that were distracting humanity like nowadays. So and that's what we were talking about in the class this week. And it's crazy because like I was telling you before the podcast started, that I was like, it's crazy how God aligns things in your life to certain conversations or things that lead to what you're trying to do or accomplish. So in essence, he knew we were going to talk about happiness today. And go ahead.
No. Go ahead. I'll say what I got to say.
And he knew all these things ahead of time. So, that's why I firmly believe in predestination for that same reason, because it's like, I know that when you're a firm believer in what you believe in and you have faith in it, everything works in your favor one way or another, whether if it's negative or positive, but it still leads towards your destination.
It's just interesting that you mentioned that, because that's what I was thinking too, as I was kind of doing my research on this topic today, and just kind of thinking and writing my own moments of happiness and moments that I've lacked it. I was like, wow, it's so interesting how, like, when we're planning our next episodes, specifically the topics, because we don't plan exactly what we're going to say. It's not scripted or anything like that. But things will happen or it'll come up to us clearly, because he just said it. where it relates to what we're going to talk about, and it's just like, yo, we can say this on the podcast. Let me write this down or whatever the heck. I freaking love that. It's just amazing how God works. So that's just kind of what I was gonna say. So continue on.
No, and then at the end of the day, I bring these things up because realistically, my answer towards the class, I'll read a little bit real quick what I wrote in class. The question was, are Thoreau's ideas relevant to today's society? If so, give examples. So I started off by saying, it's sad to see because there's, hold on, where did I start? I am so sorry. I believe these ideas are still relevant in today's society because way too many people live off not just appearance, but also living with competition with other people on who has more and who travels more. It's sad to see because there are also people who live simplistic lives who aren't worried about what the next person might think about who they are or what they have. We live in a society where luxury and commercialization rule the day, and Thoreau's scathing condemnation of materialistic culture in Walden, which is something that he wrote, still rings true today. In a time where material success and prestige are prized above all else, Thoreau's plea to return to basics is more relevant than ever. If we as humans would adopt a minimalistic lifestyle, it would help clear the mental and emotional clutter that gets in the way of fully appreciating what's happening right now for what it is. So that's what I wrote, and I already got a reply from someone. I got to read it.
Yeah, read it later on.
No, that doesn't really matter right now. But that's one of the ways to find happiness. Get in sync with nature, get in sync with the things that are around you. Sometimes, another thing that I wrote in another discussion was that sometimes we might be sitting in like our table to eat dinner with family, and we're on our damn phone instead of like talking to our family members of like, hey, how'd your day go, and all these things. And it's sad because it's like, we've gotten to a time where, our parents or relatives will be like, hey, can you get off the phone? Or they're even on their phone, which is sad because it's just like, bro, like even the grown-ups are part of this plague nowadays, So.
Yeah, I think it's a place where there's multiple ways of seeing. I think there's a place where the reason we're constantly on our phones, like at the dinner table or on the couch with our significant other or whatever, is just literally like I'm decompressing from the day, whether it was a good day or a bad day. I just want to see what's going on social media and da-da-da. And we've grown accustomed to a lifestyle where that is our joy and happiness for like 2 seconds. And then once you're off it, you're like, I'm facing reality. This is a tool to keep us distracted.
Right.
Plain and simple, to keep us distracted, to not be able to face the reality of life and its difficulties. And sometimes this is exactly what causes it to be difficult in the first place.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So what would you consider is the meaning to happiness?
Well, I'm glad you asked, sir. Happiness is, of course, we always have to kind of get the description out there. We're several minutes in, but we're going to get it in the episode anyway. So happiness is that feeling that comes over you when you know life is good and you can't help but smile. It's obviously the opposite of sadness. Happiness is a sense of well-being, joy, or contentment.
Right.
When people are successful or safe or lucky, they feel happiness. I don't believe in luck just because of my belief system in God and stuff like that. I can understand where luck comes from and things like that. That's just kind of a side tangent type of thing. But I could go into more detail later on about all this stuff and whatnot. But yeah, I feel like with the lifestyle we live nowadays, happiness could be seen in multiple ways depending on your belief system. I don't mean necessarily religious, just kind of like the way you live, the way you are as an individual. You can describe happiness differently than another person. Some people will say happiness is literally from straight materials.
Right.
Whereas you and I could say, well, happiness is literally just having a home, my family, just a simple life.
Yeah, I was going to.
And some people are like, "Are you crazy? It sounds like a boring thing." It's not though, because like you said, if we're at a dinner table together with our families, if we're talking, we're eating, we're just having some laughs and having a good time, we're creating memories. That's what's going to bring me happiness specifically, you know, and then you can look back on it and just be like, wow, you know, I've lived a really good life. I'm very content. And so your smile that you're going to have is a genuine one versus one where it's,
you know, the other day I posted on Facebook, I don't know if you saw it, he's an NBA player. I won't mention his name for this purpose, but his brother passed away the other day. And it's just like, when you see the posts, when they write their condolences, or people write condolences, or they write their own, like what they want to say about their family member, everybody has the same ritual of writing
my condolences.
Memories are the only thing that I could, you know, make me smile, that can make me think of this person and all that stuff. So it's like, it's crazy that sometimes a person has to die or go through a situation of death in order to see, like, man, I if only I had a little bit of time. It's like when Buddha, rest in peace, Buddha, man.
Yeah.
Good friend of mine passed away last year.
For sure. Yeah.
And I used to run a bread route nearby the house and whatnot. And when I did, he lived by that bread route. And there was times where I like, man, should I stop by? Let me go hang out with him real quick and this and that. Bam. He ended up moving to Puerto Rico, as you know. And then when he passed away, the first thing that always came to mind was like, damn, I wish I could have stopped every time.
Just to see him for a few minutes.
Just to hang out, man. Just to hang out, go eat breakfast like we would do sometimes and all this stuff. Because
but at least you did it though. So
right, yeah. It's not that I didn't, but it's just like, bro, not like as often. Now that you look back, you're like, bro, like every time you have a moment to hang out with a person or appreciate a person or be there for a person, do that, because that's true happiness. It's the memories that you create is what leads you to that happiness or to those things. That when that void comes, when that person passes away or whatever happens, you're like, damn, like we did the most. Yeah. As opposed to, man, you see, and it winds up to everything we're saying. Happiness has so many multiple factors and different ways and perspectives you could look at it. In this case, I'm just mentioning death because of that's the end of life at the end of the day. And whether you like it or not, you have to see it for what it is. And the sad thing is that a lot of people have to go through this to see, damn, like, let me appreciate more people. Let me get off this phone. Let me stop working so much because I'm putting work above my happiness and my family and my loved ones and all these things. And it's just like, it's sad, bro.
So then do you think that anytime, let's say, a death happens or imprisonment of some sort happens or whatever, do you think people stick with that new kind of mindset, or do you think it's a temporary change and then they kind of shift back because now they've gotten comfortable or something like that?
I mean, it could be both, because everybody's a different brain, like I always say. But at the same time, it's like there are people that will. This is how I look at life. There's always going to be two types of people: the person that's saying something and the opposer. You get what I'm saying? So there's always going to be positive people and there's going to be negative people. There's always going to be people that live by a law and people that don't abide by a law. So essentially, there are going to be people that actually learn from the situation, that actually be like, wow, you know, I learned from this. I'm gonna live this new way. I'm gonna try to be as happy as I can. And then there's just going to be people that'll do it temporarily and then just go right back. It's like religion, for example. They'll follow religion for a little bit, and then once their problems are all gone, they go right back to what they were doing. And then when they do go back to that lifestyle and see that it's an empty lifestyle, now they're running right back to God or running back to their religion. Because
thank God for grace and forgiveness, because imagine if there wasn't, and he was more of that condemning God that people see where it's like, you're going to hell. Well, hold on, slow your roll.
Right.
Fact checked first, and then.
So at the end of the day, you know, it's just, it depends the situation and the person, you know?
Yeah. And now, agree with me or disagree with me and tell me why, but like, genuinely, if I can get my words out straight, generally, people would characterize happiness in different words or categories, if you want to put it like that. Joy, satisfaction, contentment, or fulfillment.
Right.
Do you think that's true? I can say yes to a certain extent, but like, I feel like there's a difference between joy and happiness. Right. Joy is something you feel on a regular basis. Like, it's similar in words. People tend to kind of like, this word means exactly the same thing. There's a reason why that word exists. It could be similar, but it's not the same exact description to the team.
And that's why, I mean, that's what synonyms are, realistically. They're similar but they're not the same.
They're not the same meaning, like 100% at its core.
Like you could relate to them, but you can't say this word is this and this. You know what I'm saying? Because it doesn't make sense. But I mean, I would.
Like, do you agree with that it could be a sense of happiness? All those.
I mean, I guess a portion of it, but not 100%, because I feel like joy is more like a moment as well as happiness, but like joy is more like,
I think to me happiness is temporary.
Yeah.
Joy is that genuine, like, how do I put it like this? I feel like joy and gratitude kind of mesh together, because it's a moment where like you have your new place now, right? With your girl and with your baby. I can't say exactly what you feel, but I would assume if I'm in your shoes, I will feel a sense of joy, because it's like I have my place. My girl is comfortable. My child will grow in a happy place. It may not be the forever home, but it is a home nevertheless. It's the first home you guys get together. And, you know, you're just so, that's where gratitude comes in too. But you're just like, I feel joy in my heart because we're all together. We're going to create memories here. You know, it's going to be a fun ride. And sure, even in the difficulties, you can still say thank you.
I would say like joy is more like when it comes to those type of things, and then like happiness is more of like,
it's what you're feeling
like, okay,
now.
Like joy is just like a little portion of life, and then like happiness is like the nucleus of life. You get what I'm saying?
For me, I feel like that would be the opposite, but yeah, I like that. I like where you're going.
I mean, the reason why I say happiness, I could use more happiness, a word of what I feel on a daily basis, as opposed to joy. Joy is more like a smaller word in my eyes, because I think, again, our topic today is happiness, but I think that happiness is still more of a powerful word than joy is.
Yeah, I could see that 100%. I agree with that.
People will literally like right now when we title this, whatever we title it, and when people search, they'll search for that type of stuff more. That than specific word, joy. Like, how can I find joy how can I find happiness? Like, I feel like
that's more of a used word as opposed to joy.
And it's got way more weight and way more power.
I mean, this is what he goes back to too. When earlier you said like everyone has a different brain. You know what I mean? It's interesting that depending on our life experiences, we can interpret certain words, certain experiences somewhat differently than the other. And I freaking love that. We can always jump into topics if people are willing to talk more, and just break things down, and just you understand people more. And the more you connect with people, it's just, I don't know, I love it. I'm a sucker for that stuff. There's some, you know, for this obviously isn't for everybody. So for those of you who are fellow believers like myself, I came across some Bible verses that talk about happiness, right? Pretty straightforward, self-explanatory. And I wanted to touch upon this. I don't know if you had anything else to touch upon before I talk about this.
No, go ahead and hit that, and I'll hit the last I got for later.
There's two specific verses that I kind of wanted to highlight out of all the ones. There's a lot. Again, if you're not a fellow believer, that's perfectly fine. Just kind of hear it out and see how this impacts you and affects you in any kind of way. And see what it does to you. That's the goal of our every single episode that we do, is to see how it affects you. Maybe it'll change a perspective, and then you become more curious, and then you kind of want to dive into it and do the research like what we've done, to be able to put this into practice in your own life as well. There's the book of Psalms, chapter 37, verse 4, which says, "Delight yourself in the Lord, and he will give you the desires of your heart." Now, that's not saying, God, I want to be rich, and he's going to make you rich. He's not a magician, like I've mentioned before. My interpretation of this, and again, studying the word is something you have to do day and night. And I don't apply it every single day or night. I do my best to, but I know there's nights. I can tell you for a fact there are days or nights that I just don't. But the point of this is delight yourself in the Lord, meaning be happy that you have this relationship with God, right? And then it says, and he will give you all the desires of your heart. I think that's true, but it also has to align with his will for our lives, right? I'm not saying he is in control of everything that happens around us, but it's our willingness to live a life that pleases him that he will then in turn bless us with the desires. Meaning it could be a career of some sort, setting up a family, form relationships that you'll need in order to get to the next level, whatever it might be, that sort of stuff. Not the simple pleasures. I mean, sure, he'll bless you with money. And me and my wife were talking about this earlier. And we were talking about how, like, it's like, okay, let's say you asked him to be rich. Have you even appreciated the amount of money you have now? And let's say it's a little bit. Right. Let's say it's, if you're lucky, $1,000 in your bank account. And I said the word lucky, but what I'm trying to get is like fortunate, blessed, so on and so forth. Not like I just wish in luck because of the genie, whatever the heck it is. I could go down on a tangent with all this, but I'm not going to. But the point is that let's say you have $1,000 in your bank account. And you're like, bro, is this supposed to get me by in a week? Well, God could say, well, it has in the past, hasn't it? Right. You were able to buy food for you and your wife. You were able to pay your rent off and not owe anything, right? You were able to make your car payments, car insurances, your phone, so on and so forth. Yes. And so when we look back on it, when I was talking to her about this subject and stuff like that, we were just like, it really just put ourselves in check and being like, we've been very ungrateful and unhappy because we've wanted more and haven't even been thankful for what we currently have.
That's good.
So that's something to like count your blessings, guys. Yeah. Count your blessings. Just realize what it is you've been able to achieve or have with how little you have in your bank account, let's say.
That's actually one of the steps that I have real quick here, which is putting things in perspective. Like when, and it's 5 things that I'll mention in a little bit, but one of them, putting it in perspective, like, bro, like, just having an apartment and being able to freely go to the stores, Publix, Walmart, wherever you shop, Costco,
I've got
Sam's,
it all right around.
Bro, not just that you have a job and all these things. Bro, right now, I don't want to sound like I'm being controversial, whatever, but right now we have the war going on in Gaza and Israel, all of these things happening. People can't just walk down the road and go to the gas station and pump gas. They can't go to the store right now.
Yeah.
They can't shower. They don't got water. They don't have light. Their houses are completely destroyed. These people they can tell you. You could ask them right now, hey, Nabil, are you happy? And you'll probably say yes. They can't say that they're happy right now. No. Anybody that has their house destroyed, their families are dying and all these things,
you're emotionally
not happy. And then you have a lot of people in this country and in many other countries that are free right now, that they could do whatever they want. They have every blessing that they need at the moment and are not happy, but it's because they don't put all these things in perspective. I'm an extremist kind of person. At the end of the day, I go to the very bottom or the very top of this world, and that's it. And I find my solutions on a daily basis in that way. If you ask me if I'm happy, I am truly happy and blessed on a daily basis because of the things that I've had, the doors that God keeps opening for me and my loved ones, not just me. And I see the broad picture of life. I do not look at just my current situation. We've said in previous podcasts as well, don't dwell on the only
negative stuff.
And if you see our current reel that's out right now, we do talk about that on the reel. In that 1 minute that we speak, we literally say anything that's negative, don't believe the negative because it's just a negative thought in your mind. If you're looking for happiness, if you're looking for joy and content, you have to measure your blessings with the ones that people in the world,
less fortunate people
that are going through things,
and less fortunate people might actually be happier than you or me that live in third world countries that can't have all the stuff we have. But even with the simplest things,
you don't even have to go that far, brother, because I've been wanting to tell you this one too for a next podcast or whatever. People that live on the street, people that have had millions of dollars have committed suicide. People that have had blessings from their parents, loved ones, and everything have committed suicide because they're not happy or something is wrong in their life or unstable, that they kill themselves, right? But then you have these people that are on the street every day asking for money or whatever their situation may be, and they're still living another day. You ever ask yourself, like, how do they live and they don't just kill themselves or something like that? You get what I'm saying? Like, I've been wanting
You
to
still
like,
see the
literally
same people
go out
for
onto the
years?
street and just ask them, like, hey, what pushes you to go another day? You have absolutely nothing right now. What pushes you to go to the light at least to ask for money?
Oh, wow, yeah.
You get what I'm saying? What pushes you to ask for a meal for a day? Realistically, like, I've been wanting to tell you that, and I'm glad we're doing it on the podcast right now.
Yeah.
But we'll talk about it more behind the scenes, because honestly, it's just crazy that, like, a lot of people that do have so many blessings, they end up just ending
That's
it
a
right
great
there
point.
for no reason. And then you have people that on a daily basis just wake up to nothing, whether they go panhandle or they go ask for something,
Yeah.
or let's say they just have minor things, a little bike to get by to go to work, and a little room to stay in, bro. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, we've been in that
push through.
situation too.
Of course we have. You know what I'm saying? And then it's crazy. And it's just like, bro, like, again, I'm glad that you and your lady had that conversation, because it's just like, bro, it's conversations to have, because at the end of the day, bro, like, happiness is found when you start to create the right mindset, bro.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's about putting it in practice too every single day.
Yeah, it's practice.
It's a habit. And I'm saying this because I had a rough week, and my wife kept reminding me, well, look at the content you and your brother are making on the podcast. Apply that stuff. And I was just like,
that is
like,
super
dang it.
strong. Listen, that is super strong, Bill, because the other day I was like, I forgot what it was. It was going through my head, and I started listening to the podcast, and I'm like, bro, my motherfucking self is telling me.
I'm preaching to myself.
I'm preaching to myself, bro, watching the podcast, bro. That's how you know our content is gas, bro, because it's just like, it's not about...
Well, we've said it.
It's not just about what we say. It's the intentions behind what we're doing here, bro. Honestly, and because we're putting our heart into what we're doing, bro, like, I know that's what's going to create the blessings for other people too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's gas.
Yeah, I mean, we've said it before on other episodes too, where it's just like, we're not just talking to you guys to help you guys out. We're doing it for ourselves too.
We're a work in
And it's
progress.
crazy how it's happening now.
Yeah.
Where it's just like, we're only a few months in, we go back to watch it just to see how it's looking, how it's sounding, how the algorithm's going and all that stuff. And then when we listen to it, it's like, oh, dang, I needed to hear this.
Yeah.
And I just heard it from myself.
It's so wild.
So, you know.
Because at the end of the day, bro, we're human, and we all have our flaws, and we all have our wrongdoings and our issues, man. So, like, yes, we give advice, but we give advice from our personal perspectives and what we've learned through our experiences in life. But at the same time, we're still going through experiences in life.
Yeah.
And where we fall short sometimes in things that maybe we even say. But at the end of the day, the point is to make these things motivational, where we motivate other people. And this is another thing too. This is a blessing and a half too, where you do something good, and then another person reminds you down the road. Let's say we got the homie, we got old Glenn or something, that you said something on a podcast, and then months down the road, you're going through a situation. He's like, bro, you remember what you said on that podcast? Or you remember that day we were sitting down eating something and you said something, bro, and they just revert it right back to you. That's a blessing, because that's the point of these kind of things, is that you spread knowledge, wisdom, and understanding for other people to use in their lives. But also, when you're going through a situation, it comes right back to you.
Yeah.
And that's the point of having a good circle, a good, strong amount of people around you that are on the same boat. Because when you're up, you bring them up, and when you're down, they'll bring you back up, or where they're down.
That's how it should be.
Yeah.
You want some happiness, get yourself a good group of people, whether it's small or and it becomes bigger, or whatever it might be. Like, get yourself some real people who then will lead you to happiness, to success, to just,
Another thing too, there's a lot of people I've been seeing on social media where you see them in the comment boxes, stuff of like everything, that they're very like introverts. They just, it's hard for them to have, like Lou and Omar, they've confessed to me.
Shout out to our friends Lou and Omar.
We love you guys. Thank you for watching. They've confessed to me that they've had, public anxiety and like social anxiety where it was hard for them. Now they talk up a storm. Now they talk.
Yeah, they'll talk you until your ears start to bleed.
Yeah, they'll fall off. They've been guys that they've had these situations. So what I'm trying to say is for y'all people too, that's hard to open up or whatever.
Yeah.
Step at a time. Work through it little by little, and you'll see that things will work in your favor when you put them to practice and when you work for them. Nothing in this life is given to you. You have to work for it.
You have to earn it.
You have to earn it. Happiness is something that you have to look for because nobody's going to bring happiness to you out of the blue.
And continuing with happiness, but from like a scientific level, right? On the website, what is it? Positivepsychology.com.
Shout out to you guys over there.
There's one particular scientist on that website, and psychologist specifically, said that, and I didn't know this. Yeah. So this was interesting when I was doing my research. Good. He says happiness is linked to lower heart rate and blood pressure, as well as a healthier heart rate variability, right? Happiness can also act as a barrier between you and germs. So happier people are less likely to get sick. I was like, what?
It makes sense. I mean, yeah, it makes sense.
People who are happier enjoy greater protection against stress and release less of the stress hormone cortisol. You know what the...
Yeah.
Okay, you do.
Yeah.
Tell our audience what that is.
Cortisol?
Mm-hmm. That specific hormone.
Isn't that where it's what builds like the... I was going to say serotonin, but like dopamine up and whatnot.
I mean, sort of, but that literally is the stress hormone. The levels would go higher if you're under stress. And if you're normal and you're good, then it'll be lower. That's where the blood pressure comes into and all that other stuff.
See,
so it's interesting stuff.
But I'm glad that he brought it up.
Yeah.
You learn something new every day.
And that's what I love, is that doing these researches on the topics that we're going to talk about. I'm learning new things that I never knew for nothing. This I definitely didn't know anything about. Are you kidding me? It's not something that I'm necessarily like super interested in. I'm interested because it piqued my interest and I kept reading more and more and more. And I was like, oh, okay. So what is cortisol? What is this and what is that? And you just learn more about your own body.
Right.
And your cells and all that stuff. So it's interesting how happiness can affect us, not just on an emotional level, but literally on a cellular level and on a mental level. And it's crazy, man. It's super important for us to work on obtaining happiness for our health physically and internally as well. So make sure you guys continue to put that into practice. Did you have anything particular to add?
I just want to do 5 little tips for you guys to kind of find
there we go
happiness or something above that grounds right there. Anyways, number 1, see that being joyful is your fundamental responsibility as well as happiness. Okay. You have to practice in your mind. You have to put it in your mind that this is fundamental since the moment you wake up to the moment you go to sleep. Your happiness. We spoke about it in prior podcasts. Yeah. That sometimes we go out of our way to help other people, family members, all these things to make them happy, and you make yourself unhappy. Stop doing that. You are you. I've said this in another podcast as well. You are an individual. Work on yourself, build yourself, transcend to a whole nother level. So that's number 1.
But not on a selfish level. Let's clarify that too.
Right. That is also
because
good.
If you're down and defeated, don't be like, I'm not going to help you because I got my own problems.
No. Yeah, not that either. But work on yourself. If you're trying to help others, but you haven't helped yourself first, you're in the wrong.
Sometimes you could put people in front of you, but other times you really need to put yourself as a priority because then otherwise, what if you are 6 feet under the next
I mean it, yeah, but I mean it also in the way of like, if you're suffering while trying to help these other people, that's an issue. You need to fix it.
Yeah.
So, but he does have a point. Don't do it in a selfish manner. Number 2, which is what I said earlier. Here goes the mic hitting me. Put things in perspective.
Yeah.
We spoke about it earlier, so we'll keep on moving. Remind yourself to smile. This is part of your priorities on a daily basis. Smile to get a smile back. Remember, what you give to life, life will give back to you.
That's exactly right. Did you mention in another podcast the smiling topic at Publix? I think you did, didn't you? The story that you
so I
told.
can.
That one guy that went into Publix and you greeted him and asked.
Oh, because yes, and then when I walked away, he said, "Excuse me, sir. Could I tell you something?" Like, yeah. He's like, I haven't had a lot of people acknowledge me for many years, and I was thinking of taking my life away.
So I think we did talk about that.
Yes, we did
in
a
one of
little
our
bit in
previous
one of our
episodes. But
previous
the reason I bring that up is because again, he's mentioning to smile, right? And if
Sure.
you smile, you might make someone else smile.
Heck yeah.
You don't know what that other person is going through.
Mm-hmm.
So if you smile at a person, let's say you're walking, you're about to cross paths with this person, and you look to the side and you smile and make a nod or something like that. Most of the time they'll do it back.
Yeah.
Sometimes they want to just kind of like, all right, whatever, man.
And if you're in a different state that's not Florida, I like this because when I went to Tennessee, I did it all the time.
Okay.
Howdy.
Oh,
You give them a smile.
is that what you were doing constantly?
say
Howdy, how you doing today?
How you doing? Yeah, or just
Good morning.
Howdy, morning.
I know I did the
love
little
howdy.
accent a little bit, but it's just I love that
Yeah,
accent.
the southern accent.
The southern accent. I freaking love it.
Anyways, number 4, transform what's within. You
Which
must-
we've kind of talked about
exactly.
that too.
It's self-explanatory. And number 5, stop the comparison with others.
Ooh,
Stop competing. Stop trying to
that's hard.
be someone else. Be genuine. Be yourself. And then you might just find happiness after that 5th step and doing all these. That's just the way I work. You
But
could
elaborate
tweak
more on that. I think that's an important one to talk about because comparison nowadays, comparison literally starts with social media.
Oh my goodness.
People will dive into social media and they'll compare themselves of look at how this person is living their life. They've got the nicest house ever, or they just got married and I haven't.
I'm gonna give y'all a fun fact real quick.
Okay.
Which country has the most debt in the world? Okay, then. So I didn't say which one, but y'all could imagine. Long story short, how many people have credit card debts between the ages of 18 to, let's say, the age of 35 right now? Probably most of us in this country, okay? So what I'm trying to say by that is that most of these people that went to high school, college with you, or they go to church with you, or wherever, whatever you met them, and are traveling, they're probably booking these travels with a bunch of credit
Cards, absolutely. Credit cards
Swipey,
through
tap,
the
tap.
airlines to gain points.
To gain points.
That's where they get you.
Exactly. So guess what?
To gain that free flight.
So all that happiness internally, sometimes it's shallow. It's shallow. It isn't true happiness because they're traveling, but then they're thinking in their travel like, dang man, I gotta
go back to work and pay off this credit card.
Pay this credit card off or send it to collections.
Oh shoot.
And I'm not trying to criticize anybody. Hey, if that's the way you travel and you work and you actually pay them off, good for you.
Then that's
man.
fantastic.
Hopefully it's working out for you. But just know I will travel when I have the budget
actual money.
and money to actually go and have a good time where I ain't got to worry about.
You're literally just traveling to decompress and
Heck yeah,
and have some relaxation
Hang out.
and fun so that when you come back you're like, all right, I'm energized. Let's kill it. Let's keep going.
Let's keep going to the next one.
Rather than crap, now I got to go and work overtime just to pay off this card or recoup what I lost and spent at wherever the heck I went.
Wild.
There's no point in traveling in that moment if that's the case. Right. Rack it up, plan for it. Get it. Let's say from here to 6 months or a year or whatever. Like plan for it, save up for it, put aside savings and stuff like that in order for you to be able to do whatever it is you want to do.
And if you're a believer in the word, it also says to not be in debt in this world. There is a scripture, I don't know where it's at, but it's
and I don't have that in memory either, but we can definitely look it up.
Yeah, well, next episode, hey, you remember that? And we'll bring the debt up or something like that. But anyways, you don't be in debt, It's not happiness. It's sad.
Yeah, it's just going to it's going to cause stress rather than happiness. So then you're just contradicting whatever it is you're trying to do by using that good old credit card.
You know who might be a happy person on this planet?
Who?
Jay-Z.
I'll see what you did there. Reason brings it up. That's who I'm going to talk about next real quick. Because Jay-Z brought up something really interesting. Out of like many, I like to, because I'm a person who loves acting, production, and all that stuff. I always like to see what certain celebrities have gone through and what they say and what kind of weight it carries. Sometimes it carries no weight whatsoever, and I'm just like, you just wasted my life with what you just said. What the heck? But something he said, I was just like, wow, this is good. Check it out. He says there are a lot of people with tons of money who aren't happy because either they become a prisoner of their money or they become so consumed with getting money that they don't allow time for happiness.
Ooh. Yeah.
Just marinate in that for a minute, because that's a fact. Why do you think our jobs and everything put so much pressure on us to just go? Talking about my job, which is why I'm bringing it up. Their concern, their focus is how much more money can we get? Right. Not just in our pockets, but for the company themselves, for all the owners and all that other stuff, so then that we can get those majestic bonuses. And then us regular employees just get the scrap.
Right. When
we did all the physical labor.
Right.
And not just my company in this case. I'm talking about many other jobs out there, whether you have a degree or you don't. And then those people who are truly making the money, they really make no time for happiness, meaning having dinner with their loved ones.
Yeah.
Meaning traveling, meaning just, for couples out there, going out on a day and, having a loved one, someone you can trust babysit your children, whatever it might be. You're missing out on all the good stuff because you're concerned about money.
Yeah, yeah.
Money is like the biggest poison we can have on this earth. That's what cuts off our happiness right there. And
again, it's if you let it, you know what I'm saying? Because that's why I was saying Jay-Z might be happy. I think he is, and the reason why is because he's always stayed grounded for the most part in his career and everything that he does and the way he interacts with people and stuff like that.
Well, and if you listen to his music, I don't listen to it as much anymore, but when I have heard it, it was always like I mentioned Tupac. Those kind of people have gone through the difficulties in such a way that when they say it in their music, they're spitting out truth, not a bunch of BS. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And what they're saying, you're just kind of like, I can relate to that. I see that. It could be a wake up call for you. Through their experiences, you can learn how not to go through those difficulties and instead go the opposite route and reach your goal to become happier. And I don't mean monetarily necessarily. I mean in the stuff that truly matters in a healthier way, if that makes sense, rather than the difficult way that they went through. And I don't know Jay-Z like that, but to have been able to read that quote, I was just like, man, that makes a lot of sense. And even like you said earlier in this episode, you said that celebrities or people who are rich have committed suicide. Mm-hmm. And yet humbler people, you don't really hear that.
Right.
You don't really hear a whole lot of humble people who are way less fortunate committing suicide. It's usually a lot of people in Hollywood. How many people in Hollywood have committed suicide?
Right. Yeah, they got it all supposedly, but they really don't.
They have no time for happiness because they're so busy. They're on the road constantly.
Right.
Constantly doing press, interviews up the butt, project after project after project.
Conventions and all that.
Some of them conventions for sure, constant conventions where they're booked all year long. Like, bro, that's cool that you want to do all that stuff, but like, you're the one who has the opportunity to say yes or no to whatever it might be. You know that I had read several weeks ago, maybe even a month or two ago, where Eminem turned down this huge multi-million-dollar project. Have you read about that?
Tour with 50 Cent.
Yeah, okay, that's what it was.
His daughter.
Mad respect for Eminem.
Yeah,
because he put his daughter as a priority over all that money. He's still made tons. He's still making tons of money to this day.
And that's another thing, because
but he has a good relationship and a close relationship with his daughter, from what we know. Right? Because I don't know the guy, but that's something to put into perspective, friends. Like, prioritize what's truly going to make you happy, and it can't be something material.
And also, like, that's another thing. When you put in perspective people that have less than you, for you to be happy, also see the people like, for example, Eminem, or people that are bigger than you, that are way bigger than you successfully when it comes to monetary funds or whatnot. See what they've done, stuff like that, and get inspired to be like, wow, you know what? money might not be everything in life. You know what I'm saying? So have a balance
Well,
between
it isn't. It really
both
isn't.
people that are more than you when it comes to those things and people that have less than you as well.
Yeah.
And put it on a balance and you know, just find a balance in life. I want to say a quote real quick to close up in regards to my part. You got anything else?
No. I pretty much wrapped
real
it up.
quick. You know, it's kind of like what we've been saying already. Optimism is a happiness magnet. If you stay positive, good things and good people will be drawn to you.
I mean, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true. That's similar quotes to what we've said in the past too. And again, if people are drawn to you, drawn to your light, I mean, the Bible says we are to be a light into the world, right? In a dark world that we live in. And if we do that, we're going to have a healthier circle of people who are just going to bring out the best in us,
Heck yeah.
which will bring happiness too. We're not saying that everything we've said today is like the definitive way to become happy.
No.
But certainly we hope that we're giving you guys some tools that we've been able to obtain through this research now. And the stuff we've talked about today to be able to just truly bring some well-deserved happiness that you probably haven't had and have lacked for quite some time for whatever reason that might be.
Also, things start within. That's why I brought like the things that I do. It's internally. Spirituality is very important. Your mindset's super important as well. So start within and then work without. You know, everything else is materialistic and everything else is secondary or whatever else. But and what was the other thing I was gonna say? I forgot. But anyways, lost my train of thought.
That's all right. That's right. It happens to us.
But you know, just stay focused on what y'all are doing.
Yeah.
You know, continue to build and focus on the things that you need to focus on.
Yeah.
And the things that are hurting you or tearing you down, just put it to the side. You know,
try not to linger on it.
Yeah.
Because that's what I've done. I've lingered on it. But sometimes like it feels like that weight is just so freaking strong and dominant that I can take over, and it will just, it'll sink your happiness to the bottom where it's not even a second thought now.
Right.
That's terrible. You don't want to be in that position, because then you're not going to make progress.
But again, it's like what I said earlier, you know, make it primary to smile and to be happy. That is your focus every day. Put it in your mind every day. This is what, if you need to write it down, if you need to put it on a board or on your roof or somewhere.
In the mirror in your bathroom.
Wherever.
Or in your dresser in your room.
That is the most important thing.
Yeah.
And that's what you need to focus on. Everything else, you can't let it be the main focus.
100%.
Once you start to practice these things mentally, you will start to see that everything you do with a mental discipline, it'll work in your favor.
Oh, yeah.
Anything else you have to say, mate?
Just the last part of the other Bible verse that
Jesus,
I had.
I am so sorry. Go ahead.
No. Don't apologize.
Mute my mic.
What? No, my gosh. So dramatic. Just Psalm 144 verse 15, which says, "Happy are the people whose God is the Lord." So God is the Lord of my life, right? I'm the one who surrenders everything to him so that everything can go according to his plan. And in turn, I've seen the fruits of that. It hasn't happened all the time, but at the end of the day, that's the core of my life, of my belief system. And that's something that I need to live by in order to truly be happy. So that's just a little food for thought for you guys out there, for sure. And like I said, it'll at least pique your interest, maybe look into it, and just see, man. This is all about progress and change and building up our personalities, right? So, we wanted to leave you with that. Anything else you want to
add? No, just continue to smile, be happy.
Yeah.
Stay focused on that.
Yeah, for sure.
Thank you guys for everything y'all have been doing for us, supporting.
For sure.
And all the likes. Continue to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the ringle dingle dingle. Because you know what time it is when that thing ringle dingles. And
it'll let you know that we've uploaded our newest episode of the podcast and whatnot.
Yeah.
Social medias, we're doing insanely good, especially Instagram. That's the platform.
TikTok as well. We've been doing pretty good there too.
But did you hear about the TikTok thing?
That they're banning?
Oh, man.
Well, it's got to go through the Senate now, I think. But I mean, if it goes through, because the dude has to sell. If the owner doesn't sell, they're gonna ban it. So,
jeez.
But it has to go through the Senate.
He
if it
probably
goes through,
hasn't.
easy. I mean, alone in this country is over 400 million that use it
Dang.
on a daily basis. That's a lot of freaking people.
And the thing is, if they shut it down and they ban it, it's like, you know how many people you're losing right there? All the content that's been made.
You know how many people are going to get hurt by that, dude?
Yeah, that's their livelihood.
That's their money making. Yeah, that's their job. Yeah.
But I think on the flip side, if we want to look at it differently, all those people who have made their livelihood there and whatnot, they could always just hop onto another social media and they'll have their followers that will follow them.
Right.
So they're still going to be good, but it's just like it's not the same method.
And some of it's trophies, because at the end of the day, let's say you have 1 million
to get all that back,
or 10 million likes and a million subscribers, and you got a store on there too that you've worked so hard to build the store on there, that you have a whole platform. Yeah, no, dude, it would be a day of reckoning for a lot of people. But stay happy anyways, guys, on that. Follow us on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook,
Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. We're definitely there. Give us some love on Spotify. We need those numbers to go up. Apple Podcast, that was a given. Spotify, come on, people.
Yes,
it's really good too. I love Spotify. I really enjoy it.
So we thank you guys for tuning in. We love you with all our hearts and souls and everything that we have, all our will, everything, you know. And until the next time, guys.
Until next time, everybody. See you later.
All right, see you later.